In the muted twilight of post-war England, where ration books still defined daily life and the air buzzed with recovery rather than revolution, a boy named Reginald Leonard Smith was born on April 15, 1939, in Blackheath, South London. Little did the world know that this wide-eyed child, born into modest surroundings, would soon ignite a musical flame in Britain, one that echoed across radio waves, theater halls, and television screens. His family life was ordinary in many ways. His father, a professional soldier, believed in order and discipline. His mother, warm and encouraging, introduced him to melody early. The family later moved to Greenwich, where young Reg developed a sharp ear and an even sharper curiosity for rhythm and rhyme. As rock and roll from America began to trickle into British record shops, it was as though a switch had flipped inside him. The transformation from Reg Smith to Marty Wilde was not merely cosmetic. It marked the start of a new identity, raw, rebellious, yet calculated. It was Larry Parnes, the infamous impresario and manager, who crafted the name and the image. Like many of Parnes's acts, Wilde was molded into a teenage heartthrob with leather jackets, slicked-back hair, and a ready grin. Yet Marty had more than looks. He had range, depth, and a keen sense of performance that would set him apart from the conveyor belt of pop singers emerging in the 1950s. In 1957, Wilde's voice found a stage. He began appearing on television's Oh Boy, a music program aimed at Britain's youth. It was here that his reputation began to grow. His delivery, bold yet nuanced, connected with fans instantly. Unlike some of his peers, Wilde's style balanced the rawness of rockabilly with a tenderness that hinted at balladry. He was comfortable in both shades. That same year, he recorded a cover of Endless Sleep, which climbed to number 4 on the UK singles chart. The next year brought Donna, a Richie Valens cover, which soared even higher. A Teenager in Love and Sea of Love followed, cementing his name in British pop culture. But while many considered Wilde just another cover artist riding the coattails of American hits, behind the scenes he was building something more lasting, a foundation for songwriting and production that would outlive the flashbulbs of fleeting fame. In 1959, at the height of his early popularity, Marty met Joyce Baker, a former member of the Vernon's Girls, a vocal group known for their appearances on British television. Their courtship was brisk, and by 1959, they were married. Unlike the stormy unions often associated with entertainers, theirs was enduring and rooted in mutual respect. They had 4 children, Kim, Ricky, Roxanne, and Marty Jr. It was through Kim and Ricky that Marty would later experience a resurgence in music, one that bridged his generation with theirs. But that chapter would come years down the line. The 1960s brought challenges. The British music scene was changing. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and a wave of bands were redefining the charts. The teen idol era of the 50s was quickly fading, and many of Wilde's contemporaries struggled to adjust. But he refused to vanish. Instead of retreating, Marty moved into songwriting and production. Under the pseudonym Frere Manston, alongside Ronnie Scott, not the jazz musician, he wrote hits for other artists, including Lulu and Status Quo. Most notably, he penned Jessamine for the Casuals, a song that hit the top 10 in 1968. He also co-wrote Ice in the Sun for Status Quo, blending pop instincts with mod sensibilities. The 1980s brought an unexpected twist. Marty's daughter, Kim Wilde, emerged as a pop sensation with Kids in America, a song co-written by Marty and his son, Ricky. Her success wasn't accidental. It was carefully crafted, infused with Marty's experience and Ricky's new wave savvy. Their collaboration became a family affair, one where generations merged to produce chart-topping music. Kim's hits Checkered Love, Cambodia, and You Keep Me Hangin' On weren't just successful, they were anthems of a new era, produced and written under the quiet supervision of a father whose rock roots had never fully left him. Marty watched with pride as Kim toured internationally and became one of the most recognizable faces in British pop. He did not use her fame for his own platform. Instead, he quietly supported her, appearing in joint interviews only occasionally, preferring to let her voice and image shine. Yet those close to the family knew that behind every album lay Marty's careful guidance, his songwriting sensibility, and his loyalty as a father. By the 1990s, nostalgia for early rock and roll brought Wilde back into the spotlight. He toured with fellow legends such as Joe Brown and Eden Kane, performing for audiences who remembered the days of sock hops and transistor radios. But Wilde didn't simply rely on old glories. His performances remained energetic, laced with humor and heartfelt. He revisited his hits, yes, but he also brought new material, reworkings, and reflections. He recorded albums, including Born to Rock and Roll and Running Together, the latter a 2020 release that included collaborations with Kim, Ricky, and Roxanne. His voice had aged, but not lost its edge. There was a rugged wisdom in his phrasing, a sense of journey in every verse. His lyrics often reflected on love, memory, and time, universal subjects framed through decades of lived experience. Joyce, Marty's wife, remained his anchor. Their marriage, spanning over 6 decades, was built on shared values and laughter rather than headlines. Friends described them as inseparable, a rare union in the world of entertainment. Their home life, while touched by fame, was rooted in family dinners, songwriting sessions, and garden conversations. As the years passed, Marty endured the loss of close friends and contemporaries, stars who had once shared stages with him. He often reflected on these losses in interviews, never maudlin but always honest. He spoke of Eddie Cochran's brilliance, of Billy Fury's soulfulness, of Gene Vincent's fire. The ghosts of that first generation of British rock never left him. Health troubles came gradually. Marty underwent heart surgery, and though it slowed him, it never silenced him. He continued to write and perform into his 80s. His wit remained razor-sharp, and his memory, as vivid as ever, spanned an era few others could recall with such clarity. Though never obsessed with awards or honors, Wilde received his share. In 2017, he was awarded the MBE for services to music. Accepting the medal, he joked that he was glad the Queen still remembered him. He was proud of the honor, not for status, but for the affirmation of a life given to melody. In interviews, Marty often downplayed his legacy. He viewed himself as lucky, a lad from South London who got to sing, write, and raise a family in music. But those who knew British pop history understood the truth. Marty Wilde was a foundation stone. Without him, the transition from American rock to British expression might have faltered. In his final years, Wilde continued to release music and perform on special occasions. His children remained near, often joining him on stage. His love for music never dimmed. When asked why he still sang in his 80s, he replied simply, "Because it's what I was born to do." Marty Wilde passed away peacefully in 2024 at the age of 85. The news rippled across the music community. Artists, fans, and journalists paid tribute, not with platitudes, but with gratitude. Radio stations played A Teenager in Love, Donna, and Sea of Love. Social media flooded with stories of first dances, long drives, and teenage memories set to his voice. His funeral, held in a quiet chapel in Hertfordshire, was attended by family, close friends, and musicians from every era. Kim performed Last Goodbye, a song she and her father had written years earlier but never released. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Today, Marty Wilde's recordings remain in circulation on vinyl, CD, streaming platforms, and late-night radio. Young musicians still discover his work. His lyrics, though tied to the rhythms of the 50s and 60s, speak to themes that never age. Young love, heartache, yearning, joy. He left behind more than albums. He left behind a way of walking through life, honest, grounded, passionate. His children carry his name and his voice forward. His songs, filled with both swagger and softness, continue to drift through the air like echoes from a jukebox somewhere on the edge of memory. And if you listen closely, in the quiet of a Sunday afternoon, you might still hear Marty Wilde, still wild, still singing, still ours.